These are the ingredients that we will use for the dough to make the focaccia. So today I'm gonna make two different types of focaccia. One very simple, just basic with salt on top and rosemary, and the other one with a topping of tomatoes and red onion and obviously a bit of pepper to make it nice. The oil is in common for both, so the first topping will be salt flakes. That I have this one, so this is like coarse Italian salt, but obviously you can use any kind of salt flakes that you have. Rosemary, I have this one. It's dry, it's not ideal, but I don't have the fresh one, so we will make it work anyway. And extra virgin olive oil. For the other topping, we will use extra virgin olive oil, tomatoes, red onion, and pepper, and obviously the salt flakes. The only thing that I forgot to mention is that we need water, but I guess everyone has it, so it's not really going to be a problem. So let's start. We will need a scale, a bowl, and a spoon. Try to avoid anything metal, so wooden spoon, it's great. Another small bowl that we will use for the water and the yeast. A chopping board we will use with a bit of flour to make the dough very elastic, and then a baking tray. I have two because I'm gonna make two focaccias. The first thing I did is to get some water from the tap, and then I'm gonna switch it on, but really for a few seconds, because we want warm water, but not so warm that we kill the yeast. So honestly, just like a few seconds. If it gets too warm, it's not really going to be a problem. We can just dilute it with a bit of cold water. I think this is fine. So now we need 350 ml or grams of water. So I switch on my balance and I add 350 of water. Doing this with one hand, oh, too much. Doing this with one hand is not so easy, so I'm gonna take out like few mls. Cool, almost perfect. Just gonna add a tiny bit more. Try not to. Oh. Okay, this will work. So now I'm just gonna see how warm this water is. It's fine, it's warm, but it's not too hot. So I'm gonna take my yeast. I opened my yeast and I'm gonna use this one. And we need 8 grams. So I also got a small spoon in the meantime. So we need 8 grams of this yeast. Make sure that your water is not too hot, otherwise you kill it. So 8 grams. I'm not really sure how much 8 grams is. So it's probably gonna be 2 teaspoons, a bit more. 6, 7. Is it stopped at 7? Yeah, okay. So it's 8. Now I'm gonna get my sugar. Okay, in the meantime I washed the teaspoon, so we're not gonna put yeast in our sugar. And we need 1 teaspoon, quite full, of sugar. So just to know how much it is, I'm just gonna, I tear the balance and then, let's see. Okay, that's 1 teaspoon. Okay, and I'm just gonna add a tiny bit more. A lot of recipes say 16 grams of sugar, but I think it's a bit too much. Let's do 12. Okay, well, with the bit that is on the spoon, it's probably gonna be 12. So mix it. I'm gonna take it off the scale so it doesn't go crazy, and I keep mixing it. I don't know if you can see, but there are quite a bit of clumps here. So while I mix it, I also go against the walls of the bowl to try to destroy these little clumps of yeast. So just make sure that it's quite nice and homogeneous before going ahead and put it into the flours. So I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'm gonna pause the video so I can use both hands. Okay, so now this is super smooth, homogeneous, there are no clumps, and we can go ahead and weigh out the flour that we need. Okay, so tear the balance, and I'm gonna add the flour. I think that every time, oh, let's see if I can do this with one hand. It's quite difficult. Let's see. Okay, so let's see if I destroy everything. Ooh, 5, 12, oh my god, it's falling. Ah. So we have to put 670 grams. These are the weights that my mom's uses. Let's see if we can get close enough, just with one hand. Yeah, so this is also a good way to work on your muscles during this quarantine period. Oh, close. That was very close. 671, perfect. So yeah, you can see that I made a bit of mess, but it's okay. So now what we have to do, so we have our flour here. We can close this and put it here. And we need to slowly add the dissolved yeast in our flour. The other thing that we will need to add here is the olive oil and salt, but to do that, especially for the salt, we will wait to do it when the dough is almost done, so we put it far away from the yeast. Salted yeast is not a good combo together. It's gonna kill it as well. So I'm just gonna get a spoon and then we can start again. Okay, so I just mixed a bit the flour. I don't know how, but sometimes most of the times I say flour and I can't hear the difference between flour and flour, so I might just been saying, oh, look at the little flower, so cute. But well, you see that it's the the flour thingy that you use to make bread, you use to make pizza, you use to make focaccia, so I guess that it's not going to be a problem. So let's add the yeast. And then now this is another tricky thing to do with just one hand, but I'm gonna add a bit, probably this much, let's say slightly less than half, and I'm gonna start mixing it. After this point, I think I'm going to add the olive oil. I'm gonna add 2 spoons of it, and then we can go ahead with the water. Let's see, let's do a bit of water first. Let's go with all of it here. Done. So this is done. Now 2 spoons of olive oil. Okay guys, so I just realized that I pressed pause in the wrong moment, so in the video there is nothing about the moment when you have to work the dough. That's probably the most important part. So the thing that you missed is that I first worked the dough in the bowl with the spoon until all the water, all the yeast and the liquid part is incorporated with the flour. Then I put the salt, and I think that's like a couple of frames that are still in the video. So I put the salt, and it was 15 grams of salt. And then I kept working it a bit with a spoon. Once all the salt is incorporated with the flour, I transfer the starting dough in the chopping board, and then I started to work it to make it smooth. So the movement that you have to do when you work the dough, it's this kind of thing. So I'm gonna try to find something that looks like a dough, and I'm gonna show you quickly. So obviously I didn't find anything that looks like a dough, so I took a kitchen towel and I folded like kind of this way. So pretend that this is your dough. You use your hand in this way, and you use this part to push it down. So you push it down, and then you take this part, and then you go back, and you do this, and you do that, and this, and this, and always take the part that is further away from you and close it back on the top. And then you turn it 90 degrees and you do the same. Turn it 90 degrees and you do the same. And you continue this for like 5-10 minutes, and the result that you see is the one in the next part of the video, where you have the smooth ball of dough. Okay, at this point, this is a nice smooth dough. So at this point, I'm gonna do something that you're probably not gonna do, because I'm gonna make 2 not very big focaccias out of these. So I'm gonna cut it in half and then work a bit the single balls. But if you're not gonna do that, now you can take a tray and put a bit of oil and put these to rest for, I would say, at least 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. And I'm gonna show you later your options to do that. In the meantime, I'm gonna cut these in 2, so I will show you how it works. Okay, so these are my 2 little dough and I worked them, and as you can see the surface, it's quite smooth. Turn it around, this is the last, it's the little thing that closes it when we work it. Same here, now it's here, but this looks nice. It should feel quite not too hard and easy to work and easy to stretch, and that is a result of the gluten, the bonds in the gluten that starts breaking down the more you work the dough. And to help this process, we can also do something that if you're stressed, it's gonna be a very good exercise. Now this is the same thing that you do also for pizza dough and bread, I think. I'm not sure about bread, but for sure pizza. So you want to make the dough as stretchy as possible. So you have to try to break all the bonds in the gluten, and that will result in a more fluffy focaccia or pizza. So the thing that you do is you grab your little bowl of dough and then, oops, trying to avoid to smash it, like over there, just smash it on the board. And then don't be afraid. Now I don't really have a lot of control because I'm just using one hand, but try to do it quite strong and do it like 5-6 times for both, and then we are ready to let it rest. Okay, now it's done, and if you just, I don't know if you can see this, let's see, I'm not sure. Now it's really more stretchy, like if you do this, it comes back almost immediately, also because the yeast, it's starting to work. So now we take the 2 trays here and we put some oil underneath, like in the center. Now you could do this just using the same olive oil that we used before, or you could use vegetable oil or sunflower oil, anything that will not make it stick. I am probably gonna use, what am I going to use? I'm going to use sunflower oil just to save oil. I just put a bit, it looks a lot, but it's not really a lot. I just put it in the middle for now. Don't worry to make it go everywhere, because that's something that we could do later when the dough starts growing up. You can see my reflection here, well, my phone's reflection. So I'm gonna take the dough, put it in the middle here, and put it in the middle here. So option number 1 to make, I'm gonna do this so it's better. So option number 1, you can cover these 2 trays with a damp tea towel. In this case, try to avoid to have something that has just been washed for the same reason as before, because then your focaccia is probably going to smell like your conditioner or your detergent. Option number 2, you use film, like kitchen thing. I'm gonna do that and we come back in 2 seconds. Okay, so now I put some kitchen film, cleaning film, whatever it's called, on top of it. Don't worry if it goes in the oil, we don't really care. The important thing is that this one is covered so the top doesn't get dry. I did the same thing with this other one. And now we can either let it here, let it grow, and I think it's not gonna take more than 2 hours, I think, but it's the first time that I use this yeast, so I'm not really sure. Anyway, as soon as it doubles, at least in size, we are ready for the next step. If your house it's quite warm, you can easily just leave it here. If you're doing it in winter or the heating hasn't been on for a few hours, you can also put it in the oven, but obviously don't switch on the oven, otherwise it's bad. So the option is you can just switch on the light of the oven. So you let it off and you just switch on the light. The light will make the oven warm, and you can put your 2 trays there. I think I'm not gonna bother because, as you can see here, it's 9:30 almost in the morning on a Sunday morning, so I have plenty of time to let these 2 grow. Okay guys, so here we are after exactly 2 hours, and I just put these on top for a surprise effect. So after 2 hours, the dough is like this, beautiful. So now we are gonna flatten it a bit, and then in the meantime, I prepared the tomatoes, just cut in half, and I put a bit of salt, so the salt will help them to release water. And as you can see here, it's already starting. I probably did it 5 minutes ago, but it's fine because we are gonna wait for at least half an hour before doing the next step. And then I also chopped the onions. I have all my ingredients for the toppings, but we are not gonna do it now. We are gonna just flatten it a bit and then let it grow for a bit longer. Okay, so now I flatten it a bit, and don't worry if you still have these spaces here. It's just because it's very elastic, so it tends to go back to the same position. But we are gonna let this grow for another half an hour before doing anything else. So after this probably half an hour, we can start putting the toppings, and it's good because in the next half an hour the tomatoes will release more water, so then when I put them on top of the focaccia, they will not make it too soggy and wet, so that's good. So tomatoes, just a bit of salt, and then I already chopped the onions. Half an hour, and then we can start putting the toppings. For now, it's just being flattened up. So as you can see now, I put all the tomatoes and I pushed them down quite a lot. And I'm gonna wait to put the onions or oil or anything else until the dough around the tomatoes arrive, not really at the top of the tomatoes, but maybe like 4 or 5 millimeters in, and that's probably gonna take maybe 45 minutes or an hour, but in the meantime I'm gonna have lunch, so we can come back after lunch and I'm gonna show you how to proceed with this. Thing that I forgot to mention is that now we can cover them with a tea towel, so then it stays warm and cozy in there. And here we are. Probably we are gonna wait now 40 minutes, more or less. 40 minutes, 1 hour, whatever you want. It's not gonna make any damage if you want to leave it 1 hour or 1 hour and a half or 2 hours, it's gonna grow, it's just gonna grow more and it's gonna be better. So whatever you have to do in the meantime, just do it, don't worry about it. Okay, so now I came back after, I would say, 45 minutes, and this is how they look like. As you can see, they grew up quite a bit, especially this one. This one, the tomatoes are not super in, but remember that it's gonna grow also when we put it in the oven. So I think this is great. So now we can proceed with all the rest. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is to put a bit of sea salt, not really sea salt, what's the name? Yeah, anyway, just normal salt. Only on this focaccia, and that's just because of the tomatoes, because I don't want them to taste like nothing. So I'm just gonna put a bit of salt on the tomatoes, just a tiny bit. Okay, so now we can put the onions, and I cut them this way so then it looks like they are not too thin and not too thick, so they are not gonna burn. Okay, so don't be shy, this will lose a lot of volume in the oven. Okay. Try to put it everywhere, more or less, and trust me, it will lose a lot of volume. So I think this is enough. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm filming like a bit in a weird way, but I can't. Okay, so this is one, and now we are gonna put olive oil and sea salt flakes and pepper. I'm gonna wash my hands 1 second. Great, so in the meantime I also switched on the oven, and here I'm gonna add a bit of salt, not too much, but also not too little. Okay, and that's it. And now we can add a bit of oil. For the oil, don't put too much of it, but also try to cover everything, just like a little bit. I usually go like zigzag this way and then zigzag this way. So now this way, and that should be, I mean, it does look like it's enough. So this one, it's done. For this one, we will use a different strategy, let's say, because this one has toppings and this one doesn't. So for this one, I took some water that I will use to make the little holes. So the first thing that I do is to put a bit of olive oil on this one. Here you don't have to be very precise, I just put this one. First thing that I do is to kind of go around this everywhere. Now you just wet your hands with water, and then you start making the holes. This will help to, well, first kind of create like an emulsion with the oil that you used, and also it will create like little pockets for the sea salt that we are gonna add now, well, soon. The more holes it has, the better it looks. So if you're gonna feel that the oil, it's kind of going everywhere, it's important that it goes into the little pockets. Once you're happy with these little holes that you're making, don't go all the way into the dough, but also deep enough to make it stay. I'm gonna wash my hands for a second. Okay, now I'm gonna add a bit of sea salt on this one. Same thing as before, not too much but also not too little. I'm gonna zoom in to show you more or less how it is. If there is too much, I'm just gonna put it here. Okay, so this is how like the proportion, like it should look like. This is how this one should look like. The last thing that I have to add is rosemary in this one and black pepper in this one because I completely forgot. So let's add a bit of rosemary, not too much. I hope it's not gonna burn in the oven, but it should be fine. That's it. And then black pepper here. For this one is gonna taste probably more sweet than the other, and that's why I add pepper here, to make that little kick of spiciness. Obviously, if you don't like pepper, just don't do it, but I think it's I think it goes pretty well. So this is how these two focaccias look like before putting them in the oven. And I heated up the oven at 180 degrees, and they're probably gonna stay in the oven anything between, I would say, 25 minutes and 35, but it really depends on your oven. I'm gonna let you know how long I leave them. Okay, so now they are in the oven, and I'm gonna leave them here for probably 25 minutes. Okay guys, this is the moment of the truth. So I took out only one of the focaccia. That was the one that was on the top in the oven. And this one took exactly 23 minutes to cook. And then I swap. I put the one that was on the bottom on the top. So I think it's gonna take probably other 5 minutes, more or less. So dun 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 dun. It's beautiful. As you can see, it's cooked. Some of the rosemary didn't dry completely, so it's good. And some of it went in the holes. That's amazing. And to know when it's cooked, so essentially before taking it out from the oven, I took a fork. Oh no, I have the, sorry, I'm gonna take these away. So I took a fork, then went on a corner, and if it stays up all the way until there, it means that it's cooked. So this one is cooked. I'm gonna wait probably other 5 minutes to show you the other one, and that's it. As you can see, this focaccia here has a layer of aluminum foil on top, and this is because after more or less 40 minutes that it was in the oven, the onion on top was starting to burn, but at the same time the focaccia wasn't completely cooked. So I just put this aluminium foil on top, put it back in the oven, left it there for probably, I would say, 10 minutes. So in total it cooked for more or less 50 minutes, so it's quite long. But now we are gonna see how it looks like. Ta-da! Also this one is very beautiful. As you can see, the onion, it's kind of crunchy, but not really. Like the darker bit, it's not really burnt. This is the only bit that it's tiny, it's just a bit burnt, but it's not really. But anyway, I'm probably gonna eat it by myself, so I can eat it. And let's see the fork test in this one here. Hopefully I'm not gonna destroy anything. And here we are, it's cooked. So put them one next to each other. These are the two focaccias that I made, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're gonna try it with all the free time that we all have. And I think this is the first of a series of videos. I still haven't decided what is the next recipe, but I think I will do these probably every week or every 2 weeks. So hope you enjoy it.